Like it's nice to see there is this interest in this. And the session of today is we're gonna talk about cryptocurrencies, no? So last class we saw a bit on what is a blockchain, what is a decentralized ledger, and what is this infrastructure, no? At the end, where we can build a decentralized network. And today we're gonna talk specifically about cryptocurrencies, which is at the end the way to reward the nodes, no? The people who validate the network with something, no? Because nobody works for free. And so basically all the people that put a node and they want to mine in the case of Bitcoin or do other things in other protocols, well, they need to be rewarded, no? Because they make an effort to secure the system, to make sure that everything goes smooth and that the protocol is not attacked by anyone, no? So this is the reason we talk about cryptocurrencies today. And what is a cryptocurrency, no? By the way, well, it's a digital currency. It's true, but it's a digital currency that is protected by cryptography, no? Which means that at the end the issuance and the transfer of the cryptocurrency are subjected to cryptographic rules. Like it means it's very different from a digital currency that is not protected by cryptography, you know, from the user, for example, because even if there is a digital currency, it doesn't mean that this digital currency is secure or that is censorship resistant, and all these kind of things, no? So cryptocurrency is important because it provides you these qualities, and in general we think it as a reward that is given to the nodes that make an effort to protect the network. So yeah, there are some digital currencies that maybe they can be digital, but doesn't mean they are crypto. It just means they are digital. So cryptocurrency relies in general on a decentralized protocol to work. Hi Kiki, nice to have you here. So, what happens if you lose your password? No, we're talking now about password, but we will see it's something a bit more complicated than this. The thing is that if you lose the password that protects your account, your wealth, your crypto, well, that's an unfortunate news because there is nobody to ask to. Who do you ask? Like, it's a decentralized network. Like nobody is gonna give you the money just because you go somewhere with your ID. Like it's who do you ask for to? Like it's just a bunch of computers in talking to each other. So this quality, this is the quality of cryptocurrency that prevents wealth confiscation, no, from government, from banks, or from other entities, and prevents censorship, prevents all these kind of things, no, that constrains the freedom of individual. Well, on the other side, it also requires the individual to be a lot more aware on how he protects his money, no, because the money in the crypto world is protected by cryptography. So at the end of the day, is a password, no, it's something you need to remember, write, whatever. But if you lose this, then you lose the money. Why? Because there is nobody who hold the money for you. So the money is protected by cryptography, and this is the reason why you are so free on one side, but also so responsible for your money. Because lose the password, lose the money. And the same goes with stealing, no? If somebody has your password, well, they have your money because they have the cryptographic proof that they are the owner of that. So it's at the end it's mathematics, no? So and this brings a new paradigm that is a bit a struggle to digest because you are fully responsible of your own money. And this is quite tough, no, in a sense, because it means you really need to trust your decision on how you protect your money, because there is no I forget my password bottom in blockchain. Like this protection that you have, that is guaranteed by cryptography, is also what makes it impossible for somebody else to recover this money for you. Because if this was possible, then well, we have a problem, no? Because it means this guy at the end can also take it whenever he wants and without you realizing it. So we talk about a password, no? But let's understand a bit more how it works. So in cryptocurrencies, when you create a wallet, when you have some crypto, you have two things mostly, and you have a public key and a private key. So the public key is basically your account number, no? It's your IBAN is the number that you give to people if you want these people to transfer you money to, no? So you say, wait, look, this is my public key, send money here, please. So public key at the end is something that is public, no? The people can know, and of course it's good that nobody, maybe you don't want to know people how much money you own, no? So maybe you need to have a lot of wallets with a lot of public keys so people don't see all the money that you have, no? But in general, public key is not something you need to hide so much, no? Simply because sometimes you want people to pay you. So, and you need to give them an address to pay you to, no? And another thing is the private key. So if the private key is extremely secret, like the word say, and this is like really your secret password. So nobody can know it except from you. Because if somebody knows it, well, he has the cryptographic right to steal your funds, basically. And this is also the reason you cannot lose it. Because if you lose it, well, nobody to ask to, like we talked before. And these images, like you can see a bit how do they look like. So like you see, it's not easy to remember them. And but we will see there are some ways to get around this. But at the end, is just like both public key and private key are two very big prime numbers. So, and this string of character down is just the, how do you say, the translation in another format more compact, no, of this very big number. But in reality, your private key, your password is just a number. It's extremely big prime number. And we will see this like a bit more in the cryptography class. So what is a wallet? Because at the end you need to store cryptocurrency somewhere, no? Well, you can store it into a digital wallet. And there are different types of wallets, and basically they are protected by your private key, no? So this password, this extremely secret bunch of character, well, they lock and unlock, no, your wallet. So the wallets they give you an address. In reality, they give you a lot more addresses, as we will see. And but this address is the public key. Sometimes I put things more simple because it's good to have a sense, no, before like having a very deep concept to understand. So in general, a wallet is simply like a public key and a private key. You have a public key where people can send you money to, and a private key where you can sign transaction and send money. And when you create a wallet, you both have private key and public key because they are both essential for you to do stuff, no, in the network. So you need to have both. So what is a seed? Like this private key that we saw. Well, basically, this private key, in reality, it's there are different of passwords. Like we talk about passwords, but it's very wide concept and is a bit confusing. So the seed is the word that we use when we refer to the private key that is the most important. Why? Because maybe from this seed that in this case, like in this image, you can see it's a bunch of words, and the reason is a bunch of words is because it kind of help for you to remember, no? Instead of a very big line of number or character that you don't remember. And the reason why you may want to remember this is because just remembering this, you have access to your funds, you have access to your money. With with the seed, if you know it, if you have it, if you remember it, well, from this you can create other private keys, you can create other passwords. Why? Well, because maybe, just maybe, you want to have a very secret private key that is the root of all the passwords that you have in a very secret place, and maybe the other passwords, maybe you have one in the mobile phone, one in a computer, one in wherever you want. But what I want you to get from this is that the real important, the most important key to protect, and the one that gives access to all the keys you may create from this, is the seed. The seed is the root password. This is literally your digital identity in the blockchain world. And so it's with the seed that you can prove cryptographically that you are the owner of that money. And so the seed is actually what you never may want to lose, because if you lose it, bad luck, like no money. So, and the seed, this has two implications at the end. So who has your seed as your money, like we talk about, and but it's good to repeat, because this is extremely important concept to understand when handling cryptocurrencies. And this is because, like, the ownership in the cryptocurrency world, where it's enforced by mathematics. It's not enforced by a government or by a bank or by an army. It's enforced literally by mathematics. So who has this mathematic key, well, they have your money, and if you lose it, nobody can have it for you. So from this you can derive other private keys, so other passwords, and it's kind of your blockchain identity, no? For this reason, it's extremely important to back it up. What do you mean back it up? Well, what happens if you lose the piece of paper where you wrote it? What happens if the house burns? No, God may for, like, we need to understand, no, how to do it. What happens if you lose it? What happens if somebody steals it from you? So it's usually interesting to have it in different places, no? In case, for example, your house burn, and at least you don't lose also your crypto, no? You already lost the house, so better go forward, no, with life. So it's nice to have it in different places, and but also keep in mind that the more you replicate it, the more probable is that somebody also loses it from, like, steals it from you, no? To let you understand how crazy this thing is just think that the Winklevoss brothers that are inside the crypto world, every word of a seed that it looks, no, like this picture, they have it stored in a different security facility of a bank, of 12 different banks. So in every bank they have a word basically stored there, extremely high security. So it's like the Dragon Balls, no? You need to, like, get them to steal the wealth of the Winklevoss. So this is like the reason. If you have a lot of wealth, if you have a lot of, no, financial, you have a lot of money, well, it's good to protect it, no? And the Winklevoss do it like this. So this is a way, also it's interesting, I think, a way to back up your seeds. So there are a lot of products online which sell you this titanium product, in which basically you write like with a knife or whatever, like in the titanium, so the words, or maybe you just pin them, or maybe like on the left you have another things, but it's titanium, so it can resist to a lot of things. So the problem here is, as you imagine, what happens if somebody gets it. So like you see here, there is not good or bad answer to this problem, but like the important thing for me to get you the understanding is how delicate is this thing, no, and how a lot of things needs to be taken in consideration. And actually, it's very difficult in the crypto world to draw the thin line between extreme security and paranoia. I think it's impossible, honestly, to draw this line in crypto. So yes, like we say, the seed is the most important thing, because it's at the end is what can create other wallets, no, other keys, other passwords. So let's say if from your seed you instantiate, you create no, a wallet in your mobile phone, a wallet in your computer. Well, the cool thing about the seed is that if somebody steals the phone or steals the computer, well, they may not have access to your whole wealth, no, just because they have access to a key that has been derived in a way, no, from the seed. I know it can be a little tough sometimes to digest, but like we will go through this concept in a more profound ways in the next classes. So for me, this is to have an understanding of what's going on, no, and you can have different types of wallet, no, and at the end it's depending on what you need. Like you may want one type of wallet or another type of wallet. Like you have hot wallets, no, on the left. They are extremely comfortable, no, they're very usable, because at the end it's an app, no, on the phone. Everybody likes app these days, so you get your phone and you transfer Bitcoin. Wow, incredibly cool, perfect. Yes, it's very cool. The thing is may not be so secure as a piece of paper, in which from that piece of paper, like all extreme on the right, like from that QR code, it's created a key every time you do something. So, like, of course, a piece of paper is very difficult to use it, no, in a way, and the mobile phone is a lot easier to use. But also, no, the security, it's at the end, a mobile phone is an application, so it's a lot less secure. There can be an hacker, there can be like a lot of things can go wrong when you have an app. And in the middle, a thing I like a lot, and it's a thing that the industry is growing a lot, this concept, is cold wallet. And a cold wallet is a kind of a USB stick, you can imagine it, and it's initialized with the seed, no? So you can see in the central image there is this bunch of words, no, that we need to remember or we need to write somewhere to have access to the funds. And basically, when you buy this wallet, you get this seed, and like you choose the seed, or you created whatever. But the cool thing is that if you lose the wallet, this USB stick, then you can buy another one and initialize it with the same seed. And the security about this wallet is the fact that for every transaction, it's true that you need to have this wallet connected to a computer to do it. So I cannot make a transaction from this wallet without having a computer. So it's a bit more uncomfortable, no? But the cool thing is that the key that signed the transaction never leaves this device, so it's very secure. Some people would say that it's not, and this always is always the thin line between extreme security and paranoia that is not easy at all to understand. So there is a lot of wallets, and also because at the end, like there is a lot of different approach you may have, no, like. Like in your normal wallet, you may not go with 10,000 euros in cash around the city and hoping for somebody to not steal from you. The same reason you may not have a huge amount of money in a mobile wallet, no? Like we saw. and maybe in the safe box, no, you may not want to put some very not valuable coins, and you may want to store something of value, no? So maybe this can be the metaphor of the hardware wallet, no, the safe box, and the mobile wallet, no, the normal wallet. So no, depending on the security you want to have on your money, then you may choose to use a wallet or another, or usually different types of wallet for different purposes. No, a wallet that is easier to make day-by-day payments, and a hardware wallet to have it no, more wealth but less activity, let's say. And a transaction, no, at the end is so we talked about that cryptocurrency is protected by cryptography, no? So if you own crypto, this crypto is kind of locked, no, with your cryptographic key, because you own this cryptocurrency, and this is what makes that money yours, no? So this digital locker that you put. When you make a transaction, what happens, more or less, very high level, is that you take out the locker that you have put in the coin that you have, and you put the locker of the person you want to give this money to. So in this way, you give access to that money to the person you want to pay to. And we can also think it's interesting this, because on one side it's true that I'm moving money if I make transaction, but on the other side you can also think that money never leaves. It's just locked with different lockers, no, and that can be unlocked by different keys. But in reality, money always stays there, no, in the cryptocurrency world. It's not somewhere in specific. So it's simply who has access to this money that is extremely important. And so we can see this metaphor more or less to understand, no? And where do I check where my money goes, or how much money I have, or whatever? Well, there is a very cool thing. There is a block explorer, and there are different websites for this, and you can look into the Cryptonario, no, the cryptonar.io website, and you will see in the resource section, you will see there is some websites. That's basically what they do. They allow you to look for a specific transaction, a specific block, a specific address, and you can see a bit what happened, no? Because in the blockchain everything is public. So this is information that can be accessed by anyone, and this is also the reason why there is not your name in the address, no, of your Bitcoin, because if there is your name, well, everybody knows everything about you. So at least you're protected, no, by a pseudonymous. So nobody in theory can see who owns what. In reality, it's a bit more complicated, because with all these social engineering tools where you can study networks and all these kind of things, well, there are ways for people or organization that really want to know who you are and what are you doing with your money, to know it. So this is a bit of discussion, and this is the reason also Bitcoin is working on enhancing the privacy, no, of its network. And public blockchain annals. Yes, it's kind of a very big book, transparent for everybody, on the center of the table. And now we can go a little bit on how we can buy crypto, and there are different ways, but in general, the only way in which you can get crypto is just you set up your node, you begin to mine, or you begin to stake, you become a validator for the network, and you begin to do stuff for the network. Then if you do things good, well, you know what, the protocol is gonna give you something in reward. This is the only way to get crypto. in theory. In reality, well, you imagine it's a bit different, no? So there are different ways. In general, you can buy it through exchanges, no? We're gonna see later what is it, but it's basically a financial institution. They are companies, no, that respond to the laws of a country or another, and at the end they're like a bank, no? They take your dollars or your euros and they give you bitcoins and they give you something. They let you trade, but at the end is a company, no? And it's so we're gonna see a bit more about this, but this is a way to do it. So you can also buy in Bitcoin ATMs. They exist, so incredibly they exist. And basically, what happens there? You just put cash inside, and you get the equivalent of Bitcoin in your wallet. So I think it's very cool, and this is a way of buying crypto, or also other people. No, there is platform that is called LocalBitcoins. Also, you can see it in the resources of Cryptonario, where basically it's people that say, I sell, I don't know, 1 Bitcoin for this price, or I sell half of a Bitcoin, or I buy. You can see this platform, and you basically can meet with people in your own city, so you actually meet, and you make the deal, in front of each other. So like me personally never used it, but I know that it works good, and in general like it's always like everything has a risk. No, there is no solution to it. It's pros and cons, because for example using an exchange, a centralized financial institution is so they are financial entities, so you need to register, usually with your passport, and you give your credit card, or you make bank transfer. Then you have a login with email and password, and you enter in this fancy platform where you can buy and sell crypto. So it's a marketplace, and from there, like, some people sell, some people buy, and all through this exchange, which is like, it's very cool that it exists, because it's the easiest way maybe to buy crypto, maybe and for sure it's one of the most used. And it's very cool. The only thing is to keep in consideration few things. So it's really not safe to have big amounts of crypto on exchanges, and the reason of this is that the fact that the end you log in through your email and password and kind of standard identification process. This at the end it means that you don't have the private key for your funds. They hold the funds for you. So this is quite important. The consequence of this, because the end is like a bank, no? So you can trust an exchange, and of course you may operate through an exchange. You buy, you sell, you have some money there. It's okay, it's cool. Just is very not advisable to consider an exchange safe, because they can be hacked, they can steal your money, they can fail, and they can shut down, maybe for regulation or whatever. So even if you trust exchanges, and maybe there is an exchange you really like, you feel they're trustworthy, and maybe they are, still it's like a very big piggy bank. Like there is a huge amount of money, so people really want to hack it. So it's very not safe when you buy crypto to leave it in the place where you buy it. It's always good to have your own wallet, because there you have the cryptocurrency guarantee, the cryptographic guarantee, sorry, that your funds are safe, because through an exchange they are not. You access through a login and password, they let you play with it, but you don't have the keys. And if you don't have the keys, like as we saw before, no keys, no money. No? So it's really important to understand this. And this is actually one of the reasons that some people that may not understand this industry good, they think it's dangerous, no? I mean, that they can hack you or stuff like this. This is really not true. But the problem comes if you trust intermediaries. Exactly, unless there is a decentralized exchange, correct. And this is a thing that also we will look more when we talk about DeFi, no? Decentralized finance. So, because at the end, for now, they are centralized entities, no? And these exchanges, they are the bridge to the crypto world. So this is also why they are kind of considered the Achilles heel, no, of crypto. It's like the weak point, because it's not easy at the point of today, to buy crypto in a decentralized way. So there are decentralized exchanges, and they are an amazing concept because they are protocols that allow you to trade crypto, no, without relying on a centralized entity. Thing is, sometimes it's more difficult when you need to buy with euros or dollars or other fiat currencies, no. But let's see what happens. And all these things at the end comes from the fact that cryptocurrencies is kind of different from fiat money. And with fiat money, no, fiat currency, we refer to all these currencies like euros, dollars, all these kind of things that are issued by governments or entities, no. And fiat comes from the Latin, and it means to be done, no. So in the case of fiat currencies like euro, dollars, and all these kind of things, they have a value because the government say they have. And cryptocurrency, instead, they have a value according, no, to offer and demand equilibrium. This is also the thing that makes economies go very crazy. And I think it's gonna be nice times next year to talk with them. And so fiat currencies in general are protected by governments, no, that enforces it through laws. Hey, you cannot sell things in gold. You need to sell in euros because the euro is the currency of this place. Okay. So fiat currencies, they force you to use it, no? In a way, there is not so much choice not to use it, or you cannot sign out from this. And so they are enforced by governments and entities, while cryptocurrencies are enforced by mathematics. And not only mathematics, no, by cryptography, but also by the consensus protocol that underlines the consensus mechanism, no, that underlies the protocol. Is like the rules that all the participants of the network establish between themselves in order to say, look, this is the network and it behaves like this, and these are the rules. If you are in, you're in, and if you're out, you're out. We don't care. We mind our own thing. We don't bother anybody. So cryptocurrencies also are not created out of debt, which I think is extremely cool. So the fact that has been issued $10 at the end, it means that there is a debt of $11, no, because you need to give that euro back to the central bank, and this perpetuates the system. So it's kind of a commodity, that's why Bitcoin is kind of told not to be the digital gold, because it's you have it or you don't have it, but it's not that it's kind of a virtual assumption that you have it if somebody else pays the debt that has been created while issuing what you have. It's very crazy, if we think about it. So cryptocurrencies cannot be inflated at will. They could if the majority, of the participants of the network they agrees, to some very big protocol changes. But as we saw also last class, there is a lot of things, to take in consideration when we spoke about the nodes, the developers, the validators, the users. Like there is a lot of stakeholders, no, in this, and this we'll see also a bit more when we will dig more into some history, no, of cryptocurrency, and we'll see what happened with the split of, no, maybe Bitcoin, and we can talk a bit more about forks. And also cryptocurrencies are extremely difficult to censor or control, no, for their native digital creation, no? So like they are natively digital, so it's very difficult to, like, at the end, the reason that we have fiat currencies and all this government money is because gold was very difficult to move around, so it was easier to have it all stacked into a central bank, and the central bank begins to write checks of who owns what amount of gold. And so this was the reason that give this institution more power over creating money out of scratch, and because gold was not easy to move, and it was easy to also block and censor. In the end, here we are talking about a native digital currency, enforced by cryptography. So it's a little more difficult to block. It seems like the Pandora box completely open. And so, of course, for all these characteristics, they are viewed by a kernel of software programmers and mathematicians an effective edge, against the current monetary system. And the cool thing is that the more this thing goes on, the more people are interested into it, usually because there is a spike in price, then the price goes to shit again. But all this movement then makes sure that there is a constant flow of people more interested in this industry. And it's very difficult not to cover all these differences and all the implication in these slides. So in case you like understanding more about all this implication, or about our economic system that is currently going on, and check out the resources, because there is a lot of things you may want to read. If you didn't read the Bitcoin Standard, it's incredible book, so I really suggest you to read it, and it's gonna make you have a perspective about this. And also, there is some article of an economist all down that explain all the current asset bubbles that we are witnessing, and why things are really gonna go to shit in the next months or year. So if check the resources, there is really a lot of things to have your mind wrapped around. So, one question could be, well, you know what, you convinced me, incredible, Bitcoin, I love it, amazing, but nobody accepts it, what am I gonna do with it, no? And, it's, no, why do I need to buy? Nobody accepts it, no sense, no? Well, so it's true, no, that not so many merchants accept Bitcoin directly. Still you can do something with Bitcoin already, you can buy domains with Bitcoin, you can do a lot of things already, but of course it's light years from what we expect from a currency, because nobody accepts it, seems like it. So there is a lot of nice services that basically what they do is, so they run thanks to one exchange, so a centralized entity that tests your passport and all these kind of things. And what they do is they give you, some of them, this debit card, which is connected to your crypto account in that exchange. And so you can buy Bitcoin, maybe you can also pour Bitcoin into your exchange account, maybe some Bitcoin you have in your wallet. And what this card does, the cool thing is that through the Visa circuit, for example, it automatically converts the Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other currency that you may have instantly into dollar, euros, or whatever, and it's supported by the Visa circuit. So you really can pay with this wherever you want. So this is a thing that I don't think is known so much, because if not, a lot more people would use it and would not complain about nobody accepting it. Crypto, but I think it's interesting to see it, and that slowly this thing is increasing, in the industry. And also there are many types, no, of cryptocurrencies, like there are literally thousands of them. And why? Well, because at the end, there is a lot of different protocols, and so every protocol has its own way, to reward validators, that make an effort to secure the network. So it's important to make kind of a distinction, because sometimes there is confusion between cryptocurrencies and tokens. So cryptocurrencies are the native asset of the blockchain, of a blockchain protocol. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the native asset, it means that their existence makes guarantee the security and the survival of the network. Why? Well, because like we talked before, if there is not a currency to reward people to do stuff, why would everybody do stuff? Like nobody seems to move for because without getting a reward. So like cryptocurrencies is the native asset of of blockchain networks, because they reward people who secure the system and validates transaction. And the issuance of these cryptocurrencies is managed by the consensus mechanism. And we're gonna make a class just about consensus mechanism, that for me is one of the coolest thing to understand. And we're gonna see also that blockchain is really not a tiny part of what is in the market now, but it will get you a perspective that there is a lot of cool protocol that they are not even a blockchain, but they do the same thing, and they are decentralized as well. So we're gonna see it more in consensus protocol. And the difference between a cryptocurrency, which is this thing that we said, and a token, is that the token is more or less a representation of an asset, So a token, in order to survive, it needs to be issued on a blockchain protocol that already runs with its cryptocurrency mechanism. So like without a blockchain and its cryptocurrencies, you cannot put a token in a blockchain. Like the reason I want to understand you this is because a token is kind of a second layer of economics, inside a blockchain. So these tokens, for example, can represent real asset. They can represent real estate. They can represent art, oil, whatever you want, actually. Why? Because at the end, if you issue a smart contract and you say, look, I have this Warhol painting in my home, and I want to issue a smart contract because I want to create a smart contract because I want to sell this painting for an amount, and in order to sell it, I want to tokenize it. Why? Well, because maybe this painting cost 1 million euros, so I want to sell it, but I want to divide this. I want to divide it every piece, of this painting, and everybody buys a piece, So, and this way I don't know, I decentralize the painting, and there is a lower barrier for people to buy expensive art, and you can do it also with real estate. Thinking about like right now to invest in real estate, or you go through a fund, or you buy the real estate, but there is not such an easy way to crowdfund the purchase of a building. And with these tokens, they issued through a smart contract, well, it's possible, because at the end, maybe you have a very big building, like with 10 floors and, I don't know, 50 apartments, and maybe, like, if you tokenize this building, you put it in a smart contract, well, you let a lot of people to buy a tiny fraction of this building, and maybe just for investment purpose, and maybe they can vote through the token they purchase. They can vote if to rent all the rooms, or to rent part of it, or to sell it, and this comes a little bit into another type of consensus mechanism, but that is underlined by the smart contract of the token, is not underlined by the consensus of the blockchain, which is the underneath layer. So in order to have this token, to represent real asset and represent them through the strengthness of cryptography and decentralization, well, you need to have a blockchain underneath, and you need to have a blockchain with its own cryptocurrency, because if not, you don't have a lot of validators that make sure that the network runs correctly, that nobody cheats on it. Of course, you can issue your own crypto token without a blockchain, but what is the value on it? Who can certify that this token is secure? Who can say that this is really protected by cryptography? Who can say that you cannot change the code and you say, look, everybody now owns 0, I own whole? Who gives this layer of trust? Well, it's the blockchain, no? So the token, they have value, no, in a sense, because the issuer of the smart contract or the smart contract itself, well, they guarantees in that they are kind of backed by a real asset, no? For example, a very clear example is the token Tether, no, that is issued on Ethereum, and this token represents dollars, no? So, and we will go when we talk about market cycles, so in cryptocurrency, all these kind of things, we will understand more why it exists. But like what I just want to grasp you now is that if you buy Tether tokens, then you are trusting that smart contract that whatever person connected that needs to give these dollars, they have it for real, because this token doesn't represent a real trust itself. The trust is given to the token by the underlying network. Okay, perfect. The token cannot be counterfeited, cannot be perfect, but who tells you that this token is backed by oil, for example? So it's important to understand, no, that there is a difference between the cryptocurrency and the token, because the cryptocurrency is what makes the blockchain alive, while tokens is using the blockchain to make easier, more transparent, more secure, more participative the purchase and sell of certain assets, no? So yes, Ethereum is usually the most used, at least for now, as blockchain layer on top of which you can deal with tokens, and we will see like how this industry, no, develops. And well, there are a lot of cryptocurrencies, so there are thousands. So like how can we understand which one is good, which one is not? And not easy at all. Like here, everybody has its own opinion. So in general, I would say that some consideration to be done. It's you need to understand like how much is decentralized this currency, because of course I create the, I don't know, the Luca currency, and okay, it's amazing crypto and all this, but it's not decentralized, no? So I can choose whatever I want for the future of this currency. So decentralization is key, and this is the reason why it's always spoken about decentralization, because also maybe if you have just a cartel, if you have maybe a permission blockchain, maybe even if this 7 organization, 10, 15, whatever, it's decentralized because there is a lot of different organization and they may not like each other, okay, but still there is the risk, no, in which there is some enforcement that let's shut them down one by one, or that they collude together to take over the network. So decentralization is extremely important piece, if not the most important. And then there is the community. So this means how many people are using it, like what is the vibe of the protocol, like who uses it, who believes in it, no? Because at the end is the people who uses a product that kind of give the product a value, no? So it's good to understand like the community, because at the end the community is also like what helps in the development of the protocol, and it brings new resources into the advancement of these things. So like an active community means that there is news, there is advancement, and there is a usage. So community is important to understand. On-chain metrics is interesting also. It's like, okay, incredible cryptocurrency, like is decentralized and whatever. And then you go in the kind of the block explorer that I showed you before, and you see there has been 10 transactions in the last year. Say, okay, so it's not used so much, this currency. No, so it's like it's interesting. I'm not saying that you need to analyze every aspect of this in Element to buy crypto. What I'm saying is that there is a lot of things to consider when you are evaluating if a cryptocurrency deserves your attention or not. For example, you can check on GitHub. GitHub is a platform in which the developers put the code, and update the code of the protocol. And there maybe you can see, hey, it's 1 year that nobody updated the protocol. Very weird, because the blockchain industry is going fast and nobody touched a computer in the last year to make an update. Maybe it's not so maintained, Maybe in 1 year from now it's not gonna be so secure. Maybe already it's not so secure just because people didn't keep developing the code, the technology, of course, this is not easy at all to understand because, like in general, unless we don't have a very technical background, it's very easy to fall into this narrative. Quantum computing, blockchain, and yes. The problem is everybody will like to sell you whatever they have to sell. So this technology is important, to understand, and this is at the end also one of the reasons we're having these classes, like to kind of understand a bit more what's going on, to make some decisions that are not made by emotion or by somebody that is very pragmatic and scams you out. Like it's a way of considering things, in a sense, and it needs to be secure. This comes a bit, with technology, but also maybe with the algorithms, that he uses, because maybe there is an encryption algorithm that is very old, and so maybe it's developed a lot, but the protocol, but they use technology that is not secure. Maybe they use a library, and everybody uses library because it's the code is already there, but maybe this library that provides you the code, maybe the library itself is not secure. So if you build a blockchain through that library, maybe your blockchain is not secure, So it's a lot of things to consider, how much is scalable? Like, okay, wow, very secure, blockchain, very decentralized, but it's not scalable at all, which is something that happens a lot, and as we saw last time with the blockchain trilemma, we understood a bit what are the trade-offs of a choice over another. And so scalability is important because maybe the blockchain cannot scale, but then what is the strategy to tackle this problem? Maybe it's a second layer solution, maybe it's a side chain, maybe we will scalability. It's a thing we will talk also a lot in one of the next classes because it's very interesting. And also the governance, who govern this chain? Like we saw, it's decentralized, blockchain, but like somebody maybe has a higher voice, than other people. Like maybe let's say like this, like maybe all the validators are in China and they have very big mining facilities. So how this can affect the governance of Bitcoin? Can this miner raise this voice so much to change the protocol? In this case, this is an example of how a governance can stifle the protocol and take it down. Because if there is a group in the network that has a lot of power, then it's not so decentralized at all. So the governance choices that this group makes, they can affect the others, and so it's a lot of things to consider, and it comes hand in hand, with decentralization also, because for example, like like we talked a little bit last time, like Bitcoin, when there was this fork, a lot of mining farms is true they are in China, but also like a lot of nodes are all around the world. So there is not the decentralization. So in general, is understanding who is kind of moving the network wherever they want, or if there is a real parity between peers. And then of course some properties, how much is private, can it be forked, is this good, bad, like, and the use cases, why you should use that instead of another thing, or instead of a product on another blockchain. Like, it seems since 2017, like there was a blockchain for every use case, and it's cool. Like, it's funny, at least, but like, does it make sense, or can we create products on top of an existing blockchain that we already know is hyper secure, instead of creating our own blockchain? Like, what is the balance of this? So this is just a bunch of food for the brain, just to understand that it's not as simple as saying, digital money, buy, not buy. Like, it's wow, it's really a word. And this we'll dig a bit more maybe in the market, in the cryptocurrency market class. So this was the class for today, and the next one, so I hope you like it. This one was more like how to manage, to get real and buy crypto for real and all these kind of things. The next one, we're gonna see a bit of cryptographic concepts at the beginning, because it's important. We see it even if high level, just to understand what we are talking about. And but to break a bit, this cryptographic burden, let's say, but I think it's very interesting. We're gonna have a roundtable of possible use cases, which means if you guys, thanks a lot to you, if you have some questions or proposal, like let's say like this, if you prepare for the next class some question that you say, how can blockchain can be used in this industry, or how can blockchain can be used for this other, or I had this idea, makes it sense or not, we can take a slice of the class, like 20 minutes, to go through the question that you have, that you can post here on Twitch, and I can go through it quickly, like to give you an understanding on how this technology can be used. And then we can see already some interesting projects that are already active and going on, that also will give you a closer feeling on how